You're making $75,000, maybe $100,000 a year. Latest iPhone in your pocket. Tesla Model 3 in the driveway. Leased, obviously. Your Instagram is a highlight reel of Cancun resorts, artisanal coffee, and living your best life. You look in the mirror and see a successful middle-class American. But math doesn't care about your feelings. And if we strip away the emotions, the algorithm is brutal. Right now, you're staring at a future broke person in that mirror. Sounds harsh? Let's get acquainted. I'm Alex. 32 years old. I'm not a Wall Street bro in a Patagonia vest, not a trust fund kid, and definitely not some guru selling you a $997 course on manifestation. I'm a regular guy from Ohio who went from my first paycheck of $300 a week to a net worth of $700,000. I work in tech, I trade the markets, and I invest. I'm not the rising. I know this trap because I lived in it for years, thinking I was doing fine. We confuse consumption with wealth. We think that if we can afford $7 lattes every morning and Uber Black to the airport, we've made it. But it's an illusion. A dangerous, sweet illusion that you'll pay for, dearly. Why is this critical to talk about right now, in 2026? Because the rules have changed. We are living in an era of high turbulence. Inflation is eating your money faster than you can earn it. Interest rates are making every loan a trap, not a tool. The old strategies our parents used, just work hard and the company will take care of you, they're dead. The employment system is broken. Relying on Social Security today. That's financial suicide, plain and simple. Today, I'll prove it to you with a calculator in hand, no censorship. We are going to dissect the budget of a normal American family and see why this scenario guarantees poverty at 65. I'll show you numbers that will make you physically uncomfortable, but I'll also show you the only way out that I found. Like and subscribe upfront. It helps the algorithm promote common sense, not just pretty pictures. Now let's add some math. Let's break this down. Let's paint a portrait. Not some abstract character from a textbook, but a real person. Maybe you'll see yourself in this mirror. You're 28 to 40 years old. You work in sales, management, or tech. Household income. $75,000, maybe $100,000. In many states, that's solid. In California or New York, that's barely middle class. The external attributes of success are all there. A house with a mortgage, obviously. A nice suburban home with good schools. We are doing it for the kids. In the driveway, a leased BMW or that Tesla. Because the old car kept breaking, and, let's be honest, the status demands it. In your pocket, the latest iPhone, bought on a payment plan, which, as we know, is just debt with better marketing. Your transaction history is endless DoorDash orders because after work, you have zero energy to cook. Weekends at the mall or restaurants. One vacation a year, Mexico or Hawaii, usually put on a credit card with the thought, I'll pay it off with my bonus. From the outside, this looks like unqualified success. Your parents are proud. Our son made it. High school friends back in your hometown with $40,000 jobs quietly envy you and like your photos. You genuinely feel like middle class, the backbone of America, people who are doing okay. Now let's add the math. Emotions aside, just dry numbers. Because numbers don't lie and they don't flatter. Open your banking app on the 29th of the month, one day before payday. What's there? Probably zero, or worse, a negative balance on your credit card. You earn a lot, but you own nothing. You're just a pipe. Money flows from your employer through you to banks and stores. Let's calculate honestly. Take a classic middle-class family in 2026. Household income. $100,000. In some states, that's great. In coastal cities, it's standard. Here's the breakdown. Mortgage on that nice house plus utilities. $2,500 a month. And that's if you got lucky with the rate a few years ago. Car lease for that BMW or Tesla, plus insurance, gas, maintenance. $1,200. Food, including those daily Starbucks runs, DoorDash, Friday night outs. $1,500. Seems like a lot. With current grocery prices, that's just baseline. Kids, activities, clothes, subscriptions, random Amazon purchases. Another $1,200. What's left? $600. Let that sink in. $600. That's 7% of your income. Now let's translate this into time. This sobers you up better than any cold shower. There are roughly 22 working days in a month. If your savings rate is 7%, that means 20 days you work for other people. You work for the bank, paying interest. You work for the mortgage company. You work for the auto manufacturer. You work for the restaurant owner. And only one day, one single day, you work for your future. You spend 160+ hours of your life, your nerves, your health, your stress in meetings, to put $600 in your pocket. But that's not even the whole truth. In 2026 inflation environment, where real price growth on cars, tech, and healthcare is 15 to 20%, that $600 burns up before you can save it. Your real savings rate is negative. You're running up a down escalator that's moving faster than your legs. This isn't financial stability. This isn't wealth. This is what I call comfortable poverty. You have a soft couch, a big TV, and tasty food, but financially, you're standing on the edge of a cliff. Any crisis, job loss, illness, and this whole structure collapses in 2 months. You think you're middle class, the backbone of the economy, but the math says you're the perfect financial donor. And the scariest part is ahead, when that money flow from your employer stops. Because it will stop, and sooner than you think. Let's fast forward to 2051. You're 65. You look in the mirror. Health isn't what it was at 32. Energy isn't the same. In tech or high-pressure sales at 65. You're a grounded pilot. Ageism is real. It hasn't been cancelled. You've been replaced by either Ari or some hungry kid from Ohio who was just like me 12 years ago, only younger and faster. And then comes the day. You get that letter from Social Security. Your benefit? $1,800 a month. Maybe $2,000 if you're lucky. Yesterday your household income was $8,000 a month. You were used to that level. Good cheese, Uber comfort, gym memberships, gifts for the kids. Today, $2,000. That's a drop by a factor of 4. Imagine your blood pressure dropping by a factor of 4. You're dead. Your financial lifestyle is also dead. This isn't a well-deserved rest. This is a catastrophe. This is a cliff you're jumping from without a parachute. Let's look at this happy retiree budget. $800 goes to utilities and property tax. If you have that big house you were so proud of, it's more. That leaves $1,200. $300 to $400 is medication. At 65, it's not vitamins from Amazon. It's blood pressure meds, joint supplements, heart medication. Non-negotiable expenses. That leaves $800 for food for the month. That's $26 a day. Forget weekend restaurants. Forget travel. Forget helping the grandkids. You can't even buy them a decent Lego set for Christmas without cutting into your food budget. You become a burden, that grumpy relative your kids have to send money to, taking away from their own families. The mortgage is paid off. Great. You have a concrete box where you slowly fade away, choosing between discounted oatmeal and a new blood pressure monitor. I look at this scenario and I feel physically sick. Honestly, I don't want that life. That's why I say, relying on Social Security in 2026 is financial suicide. The employment system is broken. It squeezes you dry while you're young, gives you the illusion of comfort in exchange for your time, then throws you to the curb with survival instincts only. But Alex, you're being dramatic. The government won't abandon us. Really? Look at those who already walked this path. Look at our parents' generation. How many of them have actual capital? How many are traveling the world? Or is their dream limit a garden and cable TV? They have excuses. They had the 70s oil crisis, the 87 crash, the dot-com bust, 2008. They lived in a system where investing wasn't a thing, where stocks were considered gambling. They didn't have the tools, the knowledge, or honestly, the chances. They survived. Respect for that. But you and I, we have no excuse. We live in the era of market economy. You have a smartphone in your pocket more powerful than NASA computers from the 90s. You can buy Apple or Tesla stock with 2 clicks while sitting on the toilet. Information is open. Brokerage accounts are accessible. Financial reports are published quarterly. And with all this wealth of opportunity, 90% of my peers, guys 28 to 35, are repeating their parents' financial strategy. The earn it, spend it strategy. Only the decorations have changed. Instead of crystal in the cabinet, it's the new iPhone. Instead of a chivvy, it's a leased Tesla. I look at my friends' parents. Decent people. Engineers, doctors, teachers, department heads, people with degrees who worked 30 to 40 years. They didn't drink, they didn't skip work, they were normal. And what do they have now? A house that's worth something but costs a fortune to maintain. A garden with tomatoes because it's cheaper. And a social security check that covers utilities and basic groceries at Walmart. Any major purchase, a new fridge or dental work, is a financial catastrophe or a call to their son. Son, help me out. This isn't their fault, it's their tragedy. But if we, in 2026, with this example right in front of us, continue living the same script, paycheck to store to zero, then we are idiots. Sorry for the directness, no censorship. We are voluntarily signing up for the same ending, but we won't have the excuse of hard times. They'll ask us, Grandpa, why are you broke? And we'll answer, well, I wanted to look rich at 30, so I spent it all on restaurants. Sounds pathetic, right? But Alex, times are tough now too. Inflation, Fed rates. My friends, times are always tough. The perfect moment will never come. But math is merciless. If you spend everything you earn, the result of the equation is always zero, regardless of the political system. This default scenario leads to a dead end. We figured that out. We saw it in the older generation. So we need to change the formula itself, break this algorithm while we have the most important non-renewable resource that our parents don't have anymore, time. But to break the system, you need to do what 90% of people consider impossible. You need to stop being a normal consumer and become a greedy capitalist. And here's where many will say, easy to say, but how do I save when money is already tight? And here's where it gets interesting, because tight is an illusion I'm about to destroy with numbers in hand. Standard financial literacy textbooks say, save 10% of your income. I'll tell you honestly, no censorship. That's garbage. 10% is a band-aid on a corpse. It's an emergency fund for when the fridge breaks. But it's not the path to capital. It's not freedom. It's just slightly more comfortable slavery. To escape the gravity of poverty, you need the 50% rule. Yes, you heard that right. Half. I can literally hear your scream through the screen. Alex, are you insane? I have a mortgage. Kids. Grocery prices are insane. How to live on half the salary? It's impossible. Let's turn off emotions and turn on cold logic. Imagine 2 people. One makes $50,000 a year, the other makes $100,000. Both are alive, both are fed, both are clothed. No one is starving. What's the real difference in their lifestyle? The difference is exclusively in the level of status and consumption comfort. The first one takes the subway or Uber pool to work. The second one drives their leased SUV or Uber Black. The first one cooks dinner at home or packs lunch. The second one orders DoorDash from restaurants. The first one vacations in Mexico at a 3-star hotel. The second one stays at a 5-star all-inclusive resort. Here's the question. Is the quality of life fundamentally different? No. Basic needs are met for both. But the second one spends twice as much just to maintain middle-class status. They're paying a tax on normalcy. I work in tech. My combined income, counting salary and trading, exceeds $250,000. I could walk into a dealership tomorrow and lease a new BMW. Payment would be $800 a month. The managers would smile, friends would say nice ride, you've made it. And I'd look rich. But I take the subway or use Zipcar. I live in a regular apartment, not a penthouse. I wear normal clothes without huge logos. Why? Because freedom in 10 years matters more to me than leather seats. Today I buy assets, not liabilities. I buy Apple stock, not a car loan from the bank. Feel the difference? These are polar opposite strategies. If you make $100,000 but live on $50,000, you create a money machine. Let's add the math. Dry, boring, but the only kind that works in your favor. Imagine you make this hard decision. You stop feeding banks and start paying yourself. You save $50,000 a year. That's half of a $100,000 income. If you just stack this cash under your mattress or in a 0% checking account, in 15 years you'll have $750,000. Sounds okay? No, it's a catastrophe. Because inflation over 15 years will turn that $750,000 into monopoly money. You'll be lucky to buy a used Honda with it. But now, the magic. What Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. Compound interest. We take that $50,000 and send it to work. Not in pyramids, not in shady schemes, but in the economy. The S&P 500. Index funds. Real estate investment trusts. The historical return of the US market, with dividends, is about 10% annually. Some years less, some years more. Let's use 10%. Fire up the calculator. Year 1. You saved $50,000 plus interest. Year 5. You already have nearly $335,000. Year 10. $875,000. And now, hold on to your chair, year 15. If you just saved, you'd have $750,000. With investments at 10%, you have $1.9 million. Feel the difference? $750,000 versus $1.9 million. $1.15 million was gifted to you by time and discipline. You didn't work for that money. Money worked for you while you slept, ate, walked your kids to school, or wrote code. What is $1.9 million in capital? It's not just a number in an app. It's a freedom factory. Even if you move that money into super conservative instruments, say, treasury bonds at 4-5%, just to collect coupons and not risk anything, that generates passive income. Let's calculate. Even a modest 5% annually on that capital is $95,000 a year, or nearly $8,000 a month. Forever. And the principal stays with your kids. Compare two pictures. Picture 1. You're 65. You consumed your whole life, took loans, lived in the moment. Result. Social Security, $2,000 a month. You choose between medication and protein. You're a burden to your kids. You're just surviving. Picture 2. You're 50. You have capital generating $8,000 a month. You don't depend on an employer. You don't fear layoffs. You don't fear Ari replacing you. You can travel, pursue hobbies, help grandkids. You're free. The price? Your status symbols today. Your leased car. Your short-term comfort. But Alex, the math is beautiful, compound interest works, but where do I get that $50,000 a month to invest? Saving from a $60,000 or even $80,000 salary is impossible. That's a path to poverty and depression. And here I agree with you 100%. If your income only covers basic needs, no financial literacy will save you. You need to change the shovel you're using to dig money. Let's take off the rose-colored glasses. Hoping for a single salary in 2026 is financial suicide. You can be laid off tomorrow. Your department can be optimized by Ari. Your company might not survive the next recession. One income source is the risk of losing everything. It's a one-legged chair. I work in tech. My salary is $150,000. That's a good base. I'm not complaining. But I perfectly understand. In employment, there's always a glass ceiling. Above a certain amount, I can't jump no matter how much code I write. That's why 4 years ago, I started looking for leverage. I went into trading. I'll say it straight, no censorship. It wasn't a success story from day one. First year, I lost money. I blew up accounts because I thought I was smarter than the market. Trading isn't a casino or a magic money button. It's a second job. It's hard risk management. It's psychology. It's hours of chart analysis when normal people watch Netflix. But today, trading and investments give me a second salary. Sometimes bigger than the first. It's my booster. While my colleagues wait for the annual bonus from their boss like manna from heaven, I can take that bonus from the market in a couple of good trades. I'm not telling everyone to run and open a trading terminal, to trade futures. Trading isn't for everyone. Some people have weak nerves, some don't have time for deep immersion. But the principle remains unchanged. You need a second independent source. Freelancing, consulting, a micro-business on Amazon, tutoring, anything that doesn't depend on your CEO's mood. Wealth is a simple formula. It's delta, the gap between your income and expenses. The middle-class trap is that when people start earning more, they start spending more. Got a $20,000 raise? Immediately leased a more expensive car. Running in place on a wheel. The secret to escaping the matrix is different. You aggressively grow income, through career, trading, business, but you keep your expenses in an iron fist. You freeze your consumption level. You started earning not $100,000, but $150,000. That extra $50,000 shouldn't go to a new phone or designer clothes. It should go to assets. That's how you break through the ceiling. That's how you buy freedom. The system is as simple as an AK-47. Grow income, lock expenses, invest the difference. But then why do 90% of people still stay poor? Why will you, most likely, close this video and scroll on, changing nothing in your life? The answer is uncomfortable, but you need to hear it. Being poor is a habit. And being poor with a good salary, that's a choice. You make this choice every time you swipe your card. The middle-class trap closes silently. That's its main danger. It's not a sharp blow like job loss or illness. It's slow anesthesia by comfort. Today you buy a $7 latte and order Uber Comfort Plus because you've earned it. Tomorrow you take a loan for a kitchen renovation because that's what people do. The day after tomorrow you upgrade your car because the old one is already 3 years old. You feel successful. But the math is merciless. You're just burning your future to stay warm in the present. In 2026, the rules have changed permanently. Inflation, rates, geopolitics, everything screams that old strategies don't work. Just working and saving is a path to nowhere. Money melts faster than you earn it. Right now, 2 pills are in front of you. Like in the Matrix, just without the special effects, but with real consequences for your wallet. Red pill. Keep everything as is. Keep consuming, feed the bank's interest on your credit cards, hope the government takes care of you in old age, or that the kids help, or that a miracle happens. This is the path of least resistance. This is normal life. And it guarantees you a $2,000 social security check and total dependence on circumstances. Blue pill. Wake up. Admit that your normal is financial suicide. Start cutting the wants. Switch from your leased car to public transit or Zipcar if it's cheaper. Cook at home. Aggressively, fanatically invest the difference. Build capital while you have strength and health. I'm 32. I'm a regular guy from Ohio, not an oligarch son. I've made my choice. I don't want to be a broke old man choosing between medication and food. I don't want to depend on a social security system whose rules change every 5 years. I want my assets to feed me, not me feeding the system until I die. This is scary? Yes. Denying yourself now for later is psychologically hard. But scarier is waking up at 65 and realizing you lived your life on rent. I can't walk this path for you, but I can give you the tools. Subscribe. More life there. Time doesn't wait. Every dollar spent today on nonsense is a stolen day of your future freedom. Protect your money. Think. Don't let the system eat you alive.